Good morning. Welcome to episode 49 of Hanging by a Thin Thread. This is Shelley and my colleague here, Ruby, who are joining you from Kansas City, Missouri. And we wanted to welcome you to our 49th episode where we talk about things like knitting, sewing, spinning, weaving, crochet, all kinds of different things in the fiber arts. And today I want to begin by saying that I'm able to record here in the morning on a weekday, on a Wednesday, because I happily retired last week, at the end of last week. And so I can't tell you how happy I am to make this announcement. It's been in my mind and heart for several months at least. And, while I'm going to enjoy some aspects of my professional career and working with my colleagues, I really have been looking forward to a new chapter for myself. And so, I can't guarantee if I'm going to be doing any more crafting or getting, more done in terms of crafts. I have a lot of things I want to do, but definitely doing more crafts is definitely something I hope to be doing more of. So I just wanted to let you know that right up front. I am calling it, instead of retirement, because retirement sounds tired and sad. And what I'm doing is going to be re-inspired. And so I'm calling it Reinspirement because I think that's more fitting. I'm really looking forward to not only the time that it opens up for me, but also that sense of the big sigh and relax that I've been experiencing this past week. And so I do, though, intend to keep myself very active. I have a plan now because I read an article and have been reading books about making the best retirement, best use of your time. And I don't remember the name of the guy who wrote this article. I wish I could remember. But if I find it later, I'll let you know. But he suggested 3 things that kept him really focused and actively enjoying his retirement. One of those things was every day he wanted to move his body. And so move your body is number 1. I've been doing that every day. Number 2 is to make something. And that fits in really well with my focus on crafting, obviously. Make something. I've been already cooking a lot more and, enjoying the making. So that's number 2. Number 3, he suggests that you stay connected, either by seeing someone outside of your home every day or by at least making a connection through a phone call or reaching out to someone to deepen the relationship and to keep active and stimulated with other people. So that is what I'm doing, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm also, another technique I read about in a separate article, I've used this technique at work before. It's called the Pomodoro technique, because apparently this is modeled after a Pomodoro tomato. But it's a time management technique where you set the timer. This turns like a kitchen timer, and it's shaped like a tomato, obviously. And so what you do is you set a time that you're going to focus on one activity. And today my first use of it was to clear off the dining room table that was pretty stacked with stuff that I brought home from my old office. And so I knew it would, I needed to clear that off. So I set the timer for 20 minutes, got to work on it, and I was able to complete the task and stay focused to get that done. Oftentimes I'll set it for 30 minutes and or 25 minutes and give myself a 5-minute break. And so any kind of something that you've kind of been dreading doing, this is a good technique to be productive and get something done in a focused time. So I'm really enjoying this technique already. Those are some of the things I've been thinking about in making the best use of this time of re-inspirement. So I don't know where you are in your journey, if you're still an active working person or if you've already retired for some time or you're thinking about future plans. But I really am happy at this phase of my life. I'm so happy. I realize I'm probably going to have less spending money because, you know, I used to have more discretionary income than I'm going to have on a fixed income. So I am already mentally adjusting with that, and trying to ask myself, especially with online purchases, I've been asking myself, do I really need this? Is this something that's a want or a need? And number two, can I find another resource, possibly something I already have, or something, you know, that I could repurpose? Or how much do I really need it? At least delaying a purchase and trying to find something in my resources that I already have. And that is really already come in handy, that little mental reminder that I give myself. So I look forward to sharing more Reinspirement tips with you as I go about my journey. But that is how I wanted to open up, is to tell you how thrilled I am about this new chapter in my life. Okay, so we had to switch sides here because the sun was coming up, but getting in the light. But I wanted to also mention that I've been drinking. You want to back up? Ruby wants to see you guys again. Okay. Don't snag my necklace. Okay. We moved over to the other side of the porch here to avoid the sun. But I wanted to next, before I get into the next section about the book I'm reading, I wanted to mention the tea I'm drinking. You smell that? I've rediscovered a wonderful tea called Good Earth Sweet and Spicy Caffeine-Free Flavor Herbal Tea. And I've already had my coffee this morning, so I want to have some tea. It is delicious. And it's a cinnamon kind of fallish tasting tea. And actually Bob's cousin Susie first told me about it many years ago, and I used to drink it quite a lot, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. So when we were on a recent visit to St. Louis, she reminded me about it because she served it after a dinner we had. And so I really enjoyed this tea, and we got it again. It has a little saying on each one. This one says, if I have caused just one person to wipe away a tear of laughter, that's my reward. Victor Borga. And so, yes, this tea is amazing. And I had to buy mine on Amazon because I couldn't find it at the grocery store anymore. It's maybe available at the grocery store, maybe not. But I did find it on Amazon. And I think they have some other flavors as well. But this is my favorite. It has a very earthy, autumnal type of taste. And I love cinnamon. So if you're a cinnamon lover in your tea, then you will really like this. And it has a naturally kind of sweet taste. I'm trying to get off sugars and, you know, not put in sweetenings and sugars in things. And so this is a nice, refreshing drink that tastes just a slight, you know, sweetness to it, but it's a natural sweetness that is really delicious. So one thing I've been doing a lot lately is reading. And I've got to tell you, I love thrillers, as you know. Lisa Jewell is one of my favorite thriller writers. And she put out one this summer that I just got to here last week. It's called Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. She is a British writer. Ooh, got startled by that one. And acorns are really falling here. We've had unseasonably warm weather. We're like 20 degrees above normal. Today's supposed to be 85 degrees. So I'm sitting out here in the morning before it gets warm, and that's why I'm able to wear my cardigan. But I'm telling you, it has just been unseasonably warm. But the acorns are falling, and they're really big and fat. So I'm thinking this might be a pretty intense winter, maybe, is usually what that means, I think. So anyway, what I started to say is, Lisa Jewell, Don't Let Him In. What it's about is there's 3 different women involved in the story. And they are tied together by one man who is a handsome, charming, really dashing and funny and just a seemingly dream man. And so he is, it's no secret to tell you this part because that's how the book is, the whole way it is formed, is shifting from one of these female characters to another, who all thinks they have the dream boyfriend or husband. And he's somehow living 3 consecutive lives. I have no idea how he goes about doing it, but you kind of get the idea as the story progresses. He is in the hospitality industry, so he has excuses of working busy shifts at the hotel and restaurant type of thing. So anyway, but the book, you cannot stop reading it. I read it both on Audible and in a hardback edition, because it was just shifting back and forth and I couldn't stop reading. I was totally obsessed with it. And it doesn't disappoint. I don't want to tell you anything about the ending or anything else, but you are going to love this book if you love a thriller. And I just couldn't stop reading it. Literally, I sometimes stayed in my car during lunch and ate lunch when I was at work, finishing up that last week of work. I would sit in my car reading this book on Audible while I ate my lunch because I couldn't get away from it. And it did not disappoint. It was a grabber from page 1 all the way through to the end, and I felt the ending was very satisfying. So I hope you will check it out if you are all interested in a good thriller read for this October. Well, today we are out on the deck getting ready to do some walnut dyeing. And here is my walnut dye. I have 2 of these. I received these at the dye party that Christine Treasure Goddess did on Saturday, yesterday. So this is the walnut juice she already made for us. She made some of the work easier. These walnuts came out of her own grove on her property. And she has instructions for me, which I'm following. The first thing, and by the way, if you want to follow her instructions, I'll put a link to her video where she tells you all how to do this step by step, including from the walnut in case you're doing it yourself. But having the walnut juice already prepared makes this a lot easier. First thing it says for me to do is to put on my gloves. I've assembled some basic materials such as the dye stuff, the dye liquor, a pot that I'm going to use, some gloves, very important. This stains so badly. I'm going to put them on right now before I get started and wear them at all times. Okay. Then the next thing we do, according to the instructions, is we open up the dye. This is very concentrated. Okay. And I have down a cloth that can be destroyed if needed. Pour in the dye liquor. And she said for 2 skeins, I would use 1 of these. I'm going to go ahead and pour in half of the next thing because I'm dyeing 3 skeins. So I'll use half of this, and the other half will go to my friend Carolyn because she's doing this project as well. I'll use that much. I don't think I need, no. Yeah, that's good. And the rest I'll seal up. Okay. Next, we are to put this, I have a hot plate. We're to put the temperature on about medium high to get it going here. We want to get some steaming going. I'm going to take some distilled water and, as her instruction, fill up just below, like, I want to leave 3 inches at the top of the pot. I may wait a minute because I'm going to now put in the yarn, which I've had soaking for an hour. Actually, mine's been soaking for 2 hours. But I have 3 skeins of yarn in here, just soaking in warm water, and I'm putting it in. That ought to, yeah, that brings it up near the top. I don't want it any more water. And I'm just going to put that in there, making sure all the yarn is covered. Then I'm going to cover it. And I'm going to keep a close eye on this here at first. Oops, I don't want to get my hands. I'm going to put a 10-minute check on this for myself, just to come back and see how this is going. I don't want it to get too hot. I do not want it to get to boiling. So I will check on it in 10 minutes. And then after that, the instruction says to, once it's going, let it go for 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm going to be doing that. Altogether, you're going to have this going for like almost an hour and a half. We'll kind of play it later, and I'll let you know how mine goes. But I have in here now all 3 skeins, and they're going to be going for a while. One more thing you need is a lot of paper towels to do the spills here like this. That is it for now. We'll go and check up with you on the next step. Okay, it's been 45 minutes, and now I'm checking on this. There is the steam coming out, which there should be, and I'm going to stir a little bit. Bob, if you want to come over here and show how it's a darker brown. It's really good. I'm just stirring this just a little bit to move around what part is being exposed. And now I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Don't want it to get any hotter. Like, you leave it on a simmer, so it's still going to be on here. And I'm going to set this for another 45 minutes. Oops, not that way, this way. I'll check on it again. And what we will do after this 45 minutes, I will then let it stay in the pot for 24 hours. Take it off the heat and let it stay. In my case, I'll leave it outside in the pot with the lid on for 24 hours. And the next time you see me, we will be coming back to see how it looks at that 24-hour point. Okay, I just took these 3 out of the pot. This was storing here for 24 hours, soaking in the pot after the water was turned off. Then, so it's cool water in there now. One thing I forgot to mention that's very important to keep these straight, especially if you've got 2 or 3 skeins like this, is to use a curtain ring, to keep each one separate. So not only do you have little strings tying each skein together, but you also have a curtain hook, and that really keeps these 3 separated nicely. And I forgot to do that, so mine are a little bit harder to manage. But now I'm just putting them in a clear water bath. And I'm just going to put them in to soak. And it may take 2 or 3 soakings. I've already done 1 soaking. And so it may take 2 or 3 times till the water is clear. And when the water is rinsing clear, then I know that the dye bath is out of it. And and this is natural, so you can, this isn't going to be hard to dispose of. And then I'm going to hang them when they're finished over here on this drying rack. And then today's a windy day, so hopefully these will be dry soon. The next time you see me, I'll be showing you the dry, completed skeins. The yarn is now finished. We had that walnut dyeing session, and I dyed my own is already skeined up, and I decided also to work on Carolyn's because she's been really busy, and we want to work on Legwarmers together. So hers just finished today, just finished drying. It's a very quick thing to do that walnut dyeing when you already have the dye extract like we did in this case. Thanks again to Christine, Treasure Goddess, for providing us that wonderful walnut extract, because it made the dyeing process so much easier and faster. But both Carolyn and my yarn both came out a beautiful kind of golden brown that I think will make really nice Legwarmers, and that's what we decided to do with ours. I'm going to be making a free pattern from Purlsoho called Cabled Legwarmers. I've been wanting to do cables lately. I haven't done them in a long time. And I think this Legwarmer project will be just the right thing to, to get some practice again doing cables, but not so extensive that I, get tired of it. But this comes in either a shorter size that goes up to your knee, or there's a longer one that goes a little bit higher up. But I think these are a really good throwback to the 80s. And so anyway, we're going to do these. And if you know of a good Legwarmer pattern, let me know. or if you have ever knit legwarmers. I think this will be fun and activity for our knitting group for those who choose to dive in. And of course, different members of the group will probably be knitting different legwarmer patterns. But I think this is one that really intrigues me since it does have the cables. And I think it will show off this walnut yarn really well. I think the cables will show up. It's light enough golden brown that the cables will be really visible. So let me know if you have ever tried natural dyeing, especially with walnuts. As long as you don't have to crunch them out of the hole, like we had that shortcut of having already had the natural dye extracted for us, it's really not a long or hard process. So I really enjoyed this, and I would like to do some more natural dyeing in the near future. But I really appreciate, thank you, Christine, for doing that hard work of getting those walnuts, the dye out of the shells, and providing us with the dye extract, because that really helped out. And I can't wait to see what this turns into. I want to talk about, I also want to mention, in addition to thanking Christine for the wonderful dyeing extract, and she did provide the yarn that we could purchase at a really reasonable price, but she has a wonderful party every year, usually in the fall. Well, it's always in October, and she has everyone out, customers and prospective customers alike, anyone who wants to come. She opens up her dye studio, which is in a nice big barn here very close to our area. And so she just invites people. Sometimes she features her own yarn and fiber. I bought some beautiful fiber this year as well that I'll show you next time. It's purple and green fiber that I'm going to be spinning soon. But she just has all kinds of her yarn and fiber, and she has kits available. She had a beautiful duck shawl kit that I think Carolyn is going to make. In fact, I may put up a picture here of what that would look like. She always can take orders online if anyone would like to go to take a look at her website. But she has some really nice kits available, and one of them is that duck shawl kit. She does have ducks and chickens on her farm, and so I think this particular pattern was inspired by the ducks. One thing that I always am tempted to do every October is to join in the Stephen West MKAL mystery knit along, and I believe that last episode, in episode 48, I said that I decided I wanted to participate in this year's make-along. Now, the first week I didn't get in on it because I was still finishing up my last week of work. And so I was really busy wrapping things up at the office. So I was not able to get on board there the first several days. And then as I started into it, the first section, by the way, if any of you don't want spoilers for that mystery MusiKAL, then please don't listen to this part, because I'm going to reveal some things in my discussion of it. But first of all, I started off doing the scallops, and I did 2 scallops and then realized that the colors I was using might not be a good choice. So anyway, I was questioning it, but I was still moving ahead slowly, very slowly. And then I loved the flowy part of Clue 2. I was all ready to cast on again, but moving around some of my color choices. And then the third clue dropped. And all I can say is that I felt it was kind of discordant with the rest of the shawl. So I again had second thoughts and just waffled around, didn't know what to do. And so I just kept watching and seeing people as they worked up their third clue. And so as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, gosh, I love the colors I have selected. And I'm going to show you those now, just so you know what I'm talking about. I had this is a Hue Loco cracker, I think it's called cracked pepper. It's all very charcoal with some tweed in it as one of my colors. And I had also kind of a tweedy blend from Hue Loco called Grandma's Lilacs, I believe it's called. And I had this is a Emma's yarn. I believe this is Emma's. Or is this also? No, this is also Hue Loco. This is a Hue Loco Daybreak colorway. I love Hue Loco. And so I have that. It's kind of a mixture of light pink and, now I've left off one color here that's still on my desk, but I had a very light pink that is an Emma's yarn. That's what I'm thinking of in terms of Emma's. It's a light pink. And then I had the main feature color was going to be, this one is called Frogget Yarns, and it is in the color Merlot. So I was going to go with those 5 colors. The only one missing here is the pink, the light pink. But I thought they would all go well together. But as I started, like I said, really watching the clues unfold, I began to think that my colors would not be ideal for that particular shawl. And I wasn't sure if I liked the shawl or not, or if I found it too much of, you know, at first I just felt like the clues didn't go together. Like the shawl looked like 2 different shawls slapped together, to be honest. But, you know, the more I look at the whole clues as they're unfolding and people doing and executing these shawls so beautifully, I have changed my mind about it. And I do intend in the future to knit the MusiKAL. But I do think it's going to take some more thought on my part with what colors I would want to use for that. And I do feel that the colors I've already selected and want to go with are more suited for Slipstravaganza, which I mentioned before in my last episode, that if I couldn't see myself knitting MusiKAL, then I might go back to an older knit along, which is Slipstravaganza from 2020, his design from 2020. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go very slow at my own pace. And I do think, though, now I'm waiting for Clue 4 to unfold on MusiKAL. Should be out tomorrow morning early. And I'm definitely going to be waiting for that to be released. And I've already gotten so many things in my head from seeing other people's unfolding of these clues that I do have in mind some colors that might work for that in the future. So I'm not going to give up on that idea, but, you know, I just wanted to say that one thing I've learned from this, the thing I love about Stephen West and all of his shawls, is that I always learn a tremendous amount every time I go through the process of doing a Stephen West shawl. I always learn so much, and his creativity is just astounding. So I will say that I was wrong. When it first came out, this MusiKAL, I wasn't at all convinced that it would go together, and I'm not totally going to know how it's going to be until tomorrow when the last clue releases. But for those of you who have plowed ahead with MusiKAL, one of them is my friend over in Australia, Yarn About Yarn. Her shawl is coming out beautifully, and you might want to go take a look at hers. But yeah, I've seen several that are just absolutely jaw-droppingly beautiful. So I was wrong about thinking, my initial reluctance, thinking, oh no, why did he do that? It turns out that they can work very beautifully. I do think that the colors that you go with, though, would make a big difference. I think in that particular shawl, knowing ahead of time where it was going, that's one where I would want to be a foot dragger like I am, and having seen it afterwards, I think I would be able to make better color choices that would fit the design a lot better. I do think color placement and the color choices would make a big difference on how this shawl comes across. And depending on what it is you're after in what type of shawl you're wanting to do, the color placement would make a huge difference. So anyway, I'm going to just table that for the future, but I definitely would like to come back to that particular shawl and give it a try myself in the future. Well, thank you for joining us on episode 49 Ruby and I are going to go back now to our knitting. I have started Slipstravaganza. I've done the 148 I-cord rows and got through that and picked up my stitches for the I-cord, and now I'm getting ready to go into knitting the first row. So I'm really excited about getting into that. I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to go quickly on that. There's no rush, and so I will still continue doing my other projects. But I think that I am very excited now that I've decided to do Slipstravaganza. I'm getting pretty amped up about it. And I also want to say that one thing that really re-inspired me when I was getting kind of discouraged the other day at how slow-paced I was going with the scallops on MusiKAL, I happened to decide one day that it was a little bit cooler last Sunday. I decided to wear my Shawlography that I made in 2021. That was the year he came out with the Shawlography. And I was slow on it too. I didn't actually finish it up until the early part of 2022. I was keeping up with it until the third clue dropped. And then on that one, I went very slow and didn't finish up for a couple more months. So anyway, but one thing that in wearing it, it reminded me how much that I enjoy wearing such a masterpiece as Shawlography. I love that shawl design. And every time I wear that shawl, I get tons of compliments. People love it. And another lady in my knitting group is now wanting to knit that one in jewel tones. So Kathy, shout out to you. Good luck to you as you proceed along your first Stephen West shawl. But I've had many compliments on Shawlography, and it does remind me of why I go into these, mystery knit-alongs. And even though I don't keep up on them, and sometimes I make them much later, it's still such a good journey and a wonderful learning process. And just being exposed to the Stephen West creativity is really a boost to my own creativity. So till next time, I wanted to say, love what you're making and wear what you make. Goodbye, everybody.